Hey everyone, welcome. We are here. It's Sunday night, early Monday morning on Memorial Day weekend, and we have just returned from an epic day at Maryland Deathfest, Sunday at the Edison lot. I am your host, Dan Kaplan for Horns Up. With me on my right is Corey Butterworth, my regular co-host.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Corey. And on my left, our guest for the weekend, our co-host emeritus, Mr. Kevin Davis.
Woo!
Yeah. So it was a long, hot, ridiculous at Maryland Deathfest. Started at around 1:30, but
Started drinking at 11.
Yeah. We got there early.
A lot of kick the can soccer.
Yeah, we saw a lot of music, skipped a lot more, and we'll give you the rundown there in a little bit. We also just got back from a screening of Godzilla, which explains why we're only doing this at 1 in the morning. We'll talk about that too, because frankly, that was more entertaining than a good portion of the shit we saw today. Would you agree?
This is not so much going to be a mini-sode as much as just going to be a sode, because we're going to be talking a lot.
Let's just get this MDF stuff over with, because I want to talk about cities.
This is going to be more about Godzilla than Maryland Deathfest, but
yeah, man.
Whatever. It's our podcast. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. So starting off, we got there early. I think things kicked off at 1:30ish with Windhand, but we were there, as Corey mentioned, for a couple hours beforehand, drinking, playing kick the can, doing parking lot shenanigans.
Kick the can soccer.
Kick the can soccer.
I scored 4 points.
Kevin, stud kick the can soccer player.
This many.
I noticed that you numbers.
I do also numbers.
Lunch. So then we went in, and the first band of the day was Windhand, and Windhand coming from Richmond, Virginia. Fun, like doomy, sludgy stuff. Really, really tight set. Only half an hour, unfortunately. I could easily have sat through another, like twice as long.
The great thing about Windhand is you don't feel any pressure. Be like, I gotta be standing and in this crowd and just doing that. You can just close your eyes and kind of bop with it, and you feel it. You move with it.
What if you do both?
You can do both, but there's no you have to be like, oh, I'm just standing and watching. You can kind of let it hit you in a different sense.
Yeah,
and that was very awesome.
Very heavy, very like full body experience type of sound that they have there.
Their singer basically is channeling Lane Staley. She is channeling Lane Staley.
Which is funny because as we pointed out, if you listen to it on the record, it's hard to tell that it's a woman.
Yeah.
But really great performance. I got some merch from them after the show. Happy Easter, Corey. Got some merch from them after the show. Talked to a couple of the band members. They seem like good people. So Windhand, awesome. From there, we just went into a little bit of a sea of meh. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Who was after Windhand? I don't know.
Bong Ripper.
Bong Ripper. Oh, I didn't watch them. I remember now.
Who were okay, but
3 notes, no vocals, completely instrumental.
Yeah, stonery to the max.
Keith could tell with any Bong Ripper.
Yeah, right. We sort of just sat off to the side and watched them from the shade, and
I bought stuff.
Did we mention
Corey
it was hot?
Stuff. It was hot. Yeah, it was a good 10 degrees warmer today, and with as much direct sunlight as we had on Friday. So there was probably I want to say 75-80% of the bands we saw today, we were just like, cool, we'll catch 2 songs in front of the stage, and then we'll catch the rest from the shady side.
And I don't know if that just has to do with the weather being that hot or the band's not really.
It was Doom Day.
It was Doom Death Day. And unfortunately, a lot of times means they're not really
little tan.
Yeah, he's a tan boy. That doesn't mean that you're going to get as much variety or originality. They're like, oh, that's death metal. Are they pushing the boundaries?
Slower tempoed. They're not going to,
Except for the death parts, which are just really fast tempo, but just even like not even.
Yeah, but still, Doom Day alone, it's not going to. you know off the bat, so I can provide the same level of energy that like a Taco provided or something along those lines.
A lot of it looked like a bunch of carcasses just on their phones, just like that. Just sitting in the shade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Bong Ripper, we went to Graves at Sea, Portland band, who I guess were billed in the little brochure as Extreme Sludge.
Sure, maybe they were. We drank beer at the car.
Yeah. We heard about 3 notes of Graves at Sea of their Extreme Sludge, and the singer's vocal style was just very grating. Couldn't really deal with it. So yeah, we drank some. Came back in for Misery Index, who sort of by default, like up to that point, emerged as the second best band of the day up to that point, by virtue of not sucking. They were fine. I mean, they weren't great, but
they're Misery Index.
Fun enough. Yeah, local heroes, Baltimore death metal crew. So
you know what you're gonna get with them. Same thing. We watch about a quarter of the set to a third of the set, and then listen to the rest of it from the shade.
Yeah, I mean, we're still able to watch it from the shade. Like when we're sitting in the shade, it's not like we're not watching it. We're able to watch it fine. But like I said, we didn't want to just be standing there, just being like, we're watching it. No one's really moving. There's no real energy here.
Yeah,
everybody was tired.
Yeah. Last day of Deathfest, I guess.
Yeah. From there, we had a couple of bands we saw. Russian black metal band Pseudogod, who again sounded kind of good. We only caught about 2 songs in front of the stage, and then we had to retreat into the shade. But they were all right. They're
blast beats.
Yeah, and they actually had red corpse paint, so it was like
Blood.
Tear a little bit, but not Tear. Who am I thinking of? Teresa's. Yeah. So that was amusing. Wrath Prayer from Chile came on next, and we just sort of left after a couple songs. I mean, they sounded fine, but
I think they were like a slightly better version of Pseudogod.
Yeah, a 3-piece version that just their guitars were not mixed well at all. So you just heard bass, drums, and the tiniest bit of guitar.
Yeah.
And again, they weren't doing anything different, pushing any boundaries. Even like with just the death metal that they were doing, it was very substandard. So it was just like, okay, we have things to drink.
Yeah. Right. And then, at that point, we came into our the break that we had sort of built into our set. A couple days in advance, we saw there was Inquisition and Soylent Green. Neither of which we particularly cared to see. Number 1, Inquisition, because they're Nazi/white supremacists. Number 2, Soylent Green, because grindcore. What?
And rednecks.
Yeah. They did their thing. There were many Instagrams from people that came across our Twitter feed, but not for us. We found a Subway and we ate actual food.
Barely.
Can you call Subway actual food?
We got by.
We got our tummies filled more than we would have.
There was solids matter that went down my face hole and maybe not want more.
It's a typical Friday night report, but he did it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Fuck the Lord.
Yeah.
Obviously it's done.
So we came back in time. We caught Gore Guts at 6:45. They put on a really good set. Luke LeMay looked like he was having a lot of fun. That was a good mix of new and old material. A couple songs from Colored Sands. They sounded great. From there, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, which was
exceeding expectations.
Yeah, they were wonderful. The crowd was really into them. They played a really good set. After that, we caught a little bit of Candlemass and wrapped up.
To say we see Candlemass was the purpose there.
And again, they sounded very tight.
Yeah.
They sounded really good from what we heard of them. And from there, we left and went to the movies. But before we get into that, let's run through our, what did we do? Our favorites, our surprises, and
best band overall.
Yeah.
Favorite moment, best band.
Right. Kevin, start with you.
In terms of best band, it's a tie between Windhand and Uncle Acid. I'd heard both many times before. Windhand I'd always missed when they came here. And to see both, they put on great shows. Like Uncle Acid, the crowd was so into it. They were so into it. They were playing off each other's energy so well. And they had a good mix of like the sludgy parts you can just kind of relax and get in the groove. And the parts you just want to rock out. It was awesome. And then Windhand, like I said, you felt it on a different sense, and that was great. So they, to me, tied in a sea of mediocrity today. They just kind of floated way above.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Biggest surprise, unfortunately, it's not a good surprise. It's just the mediocrity was the biggest surprise because, you know, with Deathfest, you expect that high caliber. You expect, and especially how great Friday. So many.
Friday set the bar really high.
Different genres.
Yeah, different genres, but still, you expect a similar level when you organize the festival. You expect to go out on the last day with a bang.
I think it just switched the days, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it just, you know, that was the biggest surprise to me. And favorite moment, I'm gonna say was kick the can soccer. It wasn't so much at the concert. It was beforehand, pre-gaming, taking up an entire parking lot section with kick the can soccer, and not being great at it.
Would not argue.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Corey, how about you?
Biggest surprise for me, this actually was a good surprise, was Windhand. I had listened to 0% of their music beforehand. They were also the opening act, and opening acts, well, I didn't expect them to be bad, because Kevin has talked about, you know, wanting to see them for a while, so I knew they'd be decent, because I trust my friends don't like shitty music. That holds true.
Thank you.
They were actually really good, and I was pleasantly surprised, because usually, you know, I see an opening act, I'm like, all right, they were good, and then, you know, after the next act, like, all right, they're the second best, and after 3 acts, they're the third best, but they were actually one of the better acts today.
They held up. They held up pretty well.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that kind of falls into line with the mediocrity you're talking about, but all the same, they were a nice surprise. For my best band, I'm gonna have to go with Gorguts in this one. They just sounded really tight, like Dan mentioned. Their set list was dope. New, old, everything. Looked like they were having a lot of fun.
The crowd was really into it too.
They were. I mean, I know I was kind of a zombie during their set because of the heat and stuff, but like musically, they were awesome. Like just fucking cool. Best moment is definitely gonna go to Uncle Acid when they played the song 13 Candles. Yeah, it was obviously they played it really well. It was a great song. It was a fun song. But for me, that was like the moment when I was like awake again and like alive. I was like, all right, this is really fucking cool. I'm like active, you know. I'm loving this. I mean, they already caught my attention with the preceding songs, obviously, because I was, you know, right there in the crowd. But that song really kind of like got me moving, and you know, that was the best moment for me.
I was actually sitting down for them for a little, just kind of resting my legs and back. And the second that song came on, I knew that song. I'm like, I'm jumping right up, getting right back.
Yeah, you popped right back up next to it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna go. Biggest surprise was and follow suit with Corey. I'm gonna say Windhand. I'd heard of them. I knew their album was their album Soma from last year was pretty critically acclaimed, but did not realize I hadn't listened to it. Didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy them. They were great, especially as an opening act. You know, only a 30-minute set, but I wish they could have had at least double that. I would have, you know, very much enjoyed that. Best band would have been Uncle Acid. I think really just got completely hooked on them. Great set, crowd was into it, and it was just the right time of the day. You know, it was one of our, you know, as we were winding down. It was a great, set up a great couple of high notes to go out on. And best moment, not seeing Inquisition.
No, I don't know. Trying to get into the 7-Eleven and seeing the guy just not be there.
That was fun. Too. Yeah. When we were wandering around downtown Baltimore, while we were skipping Inquisition and Soylent Green, as we mentioned earlier, came across a 7-Eleven that the store was open, but the doors were locked, and there was a sign on the door that says, "I'll be back in 5 minutes, I promise," or what?
Yeah, I promise.
Something to that effect. We'll come back soon, or something.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, we'll be back, or something.
Yeah, there was, I think, a promise. I think.
Yeah.
I think he was really sincere. He wasn't.
Yeah, we waited for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was a failure. But no, not sitting through Inquisition among the inadvertent neo-Nazi sympathizers was fun. It helped me keep my dignity a little bit.
The half Jewish side of you was proud.
Yeah. Also, meeting Windhand was pretty cool when I got some of their merch. So they're cool dudes and chick singer. So cool dudes and chick.
As we found out today.
Yes. So yeah, as we mentioned earlier, a little bit through Candlemass's set, we left the festival. We were wiped. It was a long, long day, and we went to the movie theater to see Godzilla.
Before we go further, should stress there's going to be a lot of spoilers. We can't do this spoiler free.
If you haven't seen Godzilla yet and you are interested in seeing it, stop listening here.
We'll give you a few seconds of just silence before we talk more.
We could just give them a few minutes of not.
Or I meant seconds, not minutes.
And if you have already seen Godzilla, please join us. I Godzilla, you Godzilla, lunch.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Yeah. At any rate, spoiler time begins now. So
That's a weird sentence.
This was really fun. I enjoyed it. What are you doing?
It was very much. If it had another title, it would have been America, Fuck You, the movie. Not Fuck You to America, but fuck everyone else. It's just like, we're America, fuck you.
You ever thought a Japanese monster could be so American?
Well, what they did is they repurposed this Japanese monster that was a representation of the nuclear radioactivity that was going on, the nuclear threat, and they repurposed it for 1950s conservative American values. Which
How
is
so?
a slap.
Explain this.
And there's
you have
Kevin's
to-
explanation of the movie.
Okay.
I mean, I'm with you, but explain this to
Okay.
the folks out.
So if you really think about what Godzilla represented, it was at first representation of Hiroshima and the radioactivity and this thing that was out of their control. The American threat, actually. And this movie starts with these two... The best way to describe them is Cloverfield's bitch. Two Cloverfield's bitches.
They're like chicken mantises.
Yeah.
Chicken manti.
Yeah, chicken manti, who everyone was like, oh, we have natural disasters and environmental threats. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's these chicken mantis. What's going to save us? Godzilla will save us and hunt them down.
You're killing me, man.
Godzilla will save us and hunt them down. Godzilla, the American radioactive 1950s conservative threat, will destroy all these things that we think are global warming and environmental disasters, while at the same time, we just praise it. He is the king of the monsters.
Savior of City?
So, in a way, you take the original message and you just send it to the other end of the spectrum, and that's the movie you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at it from a less analytical
It was fun as shit.
perspective, it was fun. The character interactions were not the best I've ever seen, and by not the best I've ever seen, I mean
The acting blew.
yeah.
Except for Bryan Cranston, and then they just killed him.
The 5 minutes. of
This
Bryan
is the problem. I don't even know if it was the acting so much as like
Them
them trying to write in relationships into a monster movie, into a Godzilla movie. It's like, no, you don't. I don't want to
No.
see father-son growing up issues. I want to see fucking buildings being destroyed and carnage, mass despair, ridiculousness, and a lot of shit getting blown up.
It was the writing and the directing. Sorry.
I didn't think the directing was that bad.
Well, I think it came with directing the actors, because they're all really talented actors. Like, very few of them have done, well, for the most part, they're decently talented actors. None of them would be getting a Razzie for anything else they've done.
Right. Yeah, and among the cast you had Bryan Cranston, you have Aaron Taylor Johnson as his son. Who else? David Strathairn, Ken Watanabe, Sally Hawkins, Elizabeth Olsen. You got a pretty decently talented cast. Also, Juliette Binoche, who is in the movie for all of 5 minutes, yet gets fourth billing in the movie. I don't know how that works, but her agent pulled off a master stroke of selling.
He's very good at the master strokes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Masturbation. Fuck yeah.
Because America.
Yeah.
Oh. To point out, the main character, Aaron Taylor Johnson's name was Ford.
Yes.
Ford, along with Godzilla, saved America.
Ford Brody is often called Lieutenant Brody throughout the movie, so I think of Homeland, which is just really, it was off-putting for me for a bit. But I want to go back. I just really have to talk about how shitty these monsters looked. Like, they were terrible.
no.
They were just. I mean, Godzilla looked great. I mean, they visualized him well enough. As the Japanese have been complaining about, he was a little. He put on a little weight.
But that was all muscle. That was American-made muscle. That's what that was. He had a little bit of a six-pack. He had broad shoulders and squatting thighs.
He was like,
right?
She was like Fat Mac in season 9 of Star.
She was a muscular woman.
She was cultivating a little mass. It's okay.
She was a muscular woman. Like, she had a little bit of a six-pack. If you saw at that end shot where you have Godzilla's glorious shot, where you could have had an American flag draped over her shoulders, six-pack.
Yeah.
But the sequel Godzilla will actually be painted red, white, and blue.
But these enemy monsters.
She's gonna be boxing Dolph Lundgren. A Russian threat.
But what did they call the enemy monsters?
He dies.
What did they call the enemy monsters? Mutus? Something like that. They were just so hideous. It was like, as Kevin mentioned, it was like they looked like. It looked like they watched Cloverfield, saw the monster in that, which was just a giant ball of what the fuck, and and took that and was like, okay, now how can we do this even worse?
Made it with a praying mantis.
Yeah, and there are 2 of them, one of which can fly.
That's the male.
Yeah, the male is smaller and can fly. The female is just a 300-foot long behemoth.
They look very much like if your kid who's 5 is like, I drew a spider, and you're like, you did, and he really didn't. It just looked like crap. They took that sketch, and they're like, okay, literally make that in the 3D computer render. And that's what you got.
Yeah.
They also mate.
They mate so stupidly.
The story is, one of these ugly-looking monsters originates in the Philippines. The other originates in a nuclear waste site in Las Vegas.
Well, Nevada.
Yeah.
Granted, I would not argue that there may be a nuclear waste site in
There
Las Vegas,
100% is.
That whole city is a
one
nuclear waste site. Let's be real here.
It's funny.
But okay, so and they feed on nuclear radiation and come toward each other. They're calling out to each other, and they because they're trying to mate. They're trying to create more of these stupid-looking fuckheads. And the epicenter of that is San Francisco. The halfway point for their meeting is San Francisco.
It's
and
really
when they
not
finally,
the halfway point. The halfway be the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be logistical.
But nobody cares about destroying the middle of the
But
ocean.
you gotta remember the dude can fly. So he's gonna cover a lot more ground a lot faster.
But we're talking about.
And the female's fucking big.
Yeah.
I guess we're talking about like halfway point of time, but if you're thinking halfway point, just the exact center location.
Right, then yes, absolutely in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
But
What it should have been.
so they meet up in San Francisco, and there's this awkward nose-rubbing interaction between them. One of them has a warhead in his mouth, a nuclear warhead, because of course it does.
That represents Russia in one way or another.
Because that's how they mate, with nuclear.
Let's go off tonight.
Lauren.
Nick, man.
Hey, man. You want in on this?
We're live, Kevin. Come on.
Sorry.
So
What's in on this?
they're I also want in on this.
I am so sorry.
Oh, boy.
The one. No, we're the viewer.
No, we're the one. I think we're the one viewer that it counts.
Sorry, us. We let you down again.
So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, awkward kissy shit. Yeah, it was weird. And then they make babies underground, and Aaron Taylor Johnson burns them alive.
Because Nick Manning.
Yeah. What was also funny was Godzilla kills one of them, and then a building falls on him. What was? Because he whips it with his tail. The flying monster, the male, comes to attack him, and Godzilla whips it with his tail into a building, thus knocking the building over on top of him.
They made this whole thing with Godzilla, like Godzilla's going to save them, but because he's hunting them, going to eat them. Not only did he never even think about eating them, but when he kills the first male, he looks over and basically just gives a fuck you face. Like, it would have been appropriate, and it would have fit in if he just did this. Yeah, bitch. Like, that would have made more sense, would have made just as much sense. It was, and thinking, okay, of course this animal's not going to have human emotions of vengeance. That's not how it works. And then when it kills the second one, again, no thought of eating, just like head gone, peace.
Well, but then he collapses and he looks like he's decomposing. She collapses. Godzilla's not a she.
Godzilla was supposed to be a she.
Not in this one.
In this movie, it was a he.
Yeah.
Because America.
Right. But yeah, so then he kills the second ugly-looking shit fuck, and then passes out.
Its face.
Like, we think he's dead because, you know, and it's not an unreasonable assumption to think he's dead because he, you know, just had a building fall on him and everything.
And he looks charred.
Yeah. You see a shot of him the next morning. He's just laying there, and then all of a sudden he wakes up and just walks into the ocean. Like, how long was he out for? Was it the next morning? Was it?
He had to be the next morning.
Was he taking a nap? Was he
There's also
hungover? Like,
there was that really stupid moment where it's just Aaron Johnson, Ford, just in the middle of San Francisco, and Godzilla falls, and they make eye contact, and you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, they had a moment, and it would have again fit if Godzilla was like, my son. And I would have been equally like, yes, why not? Sure. You're Mufasa / Bryan Cranston now.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. But as Godzilla walks into the ocean, this was your favorite part of the movie, I know, both of these guys.
Yeah.
They see a news report. It cuts to a news feed of the of Godzilla walking into the ocean.
Yeah.
And the caption on CNN or whatever it is "King of the Monsters, Savior of City?" Question mark.
Like, if they couldn't get this pro-patriotic movie that's just like, okay, now he's king.
Yeah.
He defeated other two and therefore is king of everything.
He defeated other two.
Yeah. We talk about this like we want to bash the shit out of it, but in reality, we all enjoyed the hell out of it.
And the suspense was good. Like, I give it full credit for the fact that they didn't Cloverfield it and blow the monster loads within 5 minutes to be like, here's all of them.
Right. You don't see Godzilla until a good, hour or so into the movie? At least?
Like 2/3 into the way of the movie.
Yeah. So kudos for that.
You see little pieces of him, but not the whole thing.
Right. Kudos for the actual look of Godzilla. I mean, I thought it was really good CGI there.
Better than the rapper.
1998 Godzilla.
He, on the good scale, was as good. He was as good as the enemy monsters were shitty.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All in all, worth the $12 or $11.50 we paid for admission. We'd see it again. So, there's some cool trailers, ahead of the movie too.
I don't remember that.
I remember the Tom Cruise one that looks really shitty.
Yeah, well, that one, Edge of Tomorrow, we're not going to bother with that.
I don't remember. There was that other demon one.
Oh,
Interstellar.
Okay.
Interstellar looks cool. The Rover could be good.
The Rover could be okay. The one about the possessions looked really dumb. It was just like, Eric Bana's a cop. Hooray.
Yeah.
Also, demon possessions.
Yeah. But yeah, worth the trip to the multiplex or whatever the hell they're calling them these days. So yeah, with that said, that has been Godzilla.
Oh hey, we're down to 0 viewers.
Yeah.
We're not even watching anymore.
We're not watching us, guys.
So I guess that means there was a viewer.
I guess there was a viewer.
And they were just like, fuck this.
Sorry, guy or girl.
We ruined Godzilla for you.
Yeah.
It may have just been Lauren pitying us.
Yeah. So final thoughts. I mean, we're going home tomorrow. Final thoughts on what was generally a pretty successful Maryland Deathfest weekend.
I thought the weekend on the whole was a lot of fun. Like, we had a killer time Friday. Yesterday we had a good time as well. There was a soccer game you guys watched.
It was our break day from MDF.
And we went to get great dinner. We had a lot of great discussions. May or may not involve discussing.
75% of them involved.
We ejaculate and horse penetration. That's the way to phrase that. Went to some cool bars. And then today, even with Deathfest having some madness to it, it still was a great day. So all in all, it's always great when you guys come down. It's always great when we get together. So
you're making it weird.
So
I
hope your car crashes. Sure. You get stuck in Pennsylvania and get eaten by cannibals.
Why would he go to Pennsylvania?
Why would there be cannibals in Pennsylvania? That actually makes total sense.
Yeah. You gotta crash somewhere.
My state isn't that shit.
It is.
Hey, we have a viewer again.
I responded to Pennsylvania being shitty. They're like, I believe this. I dig this.
Oh,
so what do we do this? Should we wrap up with a word?
Sure.
Because why the fuck not?
For just today or for the weekend?
For the weekend.
Yeah.
For the weekend. Your word?
Pass. That's not my word. I just don't have one yet.
I'll go with fulfilling. Just in all terms. From music, from just sheer ridiculousness, alcohol, food.
2 viewers!
And they're not
so that'd be mine.
down the one.
Damn it! We had to
We're
acknowledge it.
scaring them away.
I can't keep they clicked in all they heard was
I'm
2 viewers.
just amazed that anyone's online at 1:25 in the morning
Oh, dude, totally.
watching this shit.
But I think it's just hilarious. They show them like, oh, this could be funny, and they just hear 2 viewers. I'm like, nope. Yes.
So, fulfilling. Kevin.
Yeah,
Needed.
we're retarded.
Very needed.
Needed.
Like,
Yeah.
I think us getting together. Last time we got together was Halloween.
Yeah.
And I think it's been 7 months. That's been way too long. Almost 8. If you think about it. So.
My word. Lunch?
Yeah. It was very large. Almuerzo, if it's Spanish.
No. My word, I would say, it was necessary. Necessary and fun. It was just a fun weekend. Good music, good beer, lots of beer. So
Lots of metal.
Yeah.
Lots of great metal.
So, with it being Monday, Cora and I are going to be getting right back into the swing of things with the Horns Up blog and planning out episode 7, I guess full episode 7, which will be coming your way later this week.
Yeah.
Again, you can check all this stuff out on our website, hornsupmetalshow.com. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/hornsuppodcast, and Twitter @hornsuppodcast. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, which we can say here. Actually, no, we can't. Fuck. Because this is going on iTunes.
Can you spell it?
iTunes doesn't like it. The thing is, iTunes doesn't like it when you say their name.
Just spell it the same way a kid. ITUNES.
Yes, that. Search for Horns Up Metal Show. Subscribe. You'll hear all of our episodes as they come. All of our album reviews, concert reviews, you name it. So, for Kevin Davis and Corey Butterworth, I'm your host, Dan Kaplan, and thank you for joining us.